So I found recently that I had become kind of embroiled in my tech, whether it was checking out YouTube on my phone nearly every 5 minutes just to see was there a new video there, whether it was going back and forth with ChatGPT, particularly the O3 model or GPT-5 when that came out, and just going back and forth and researching and checking and double checking and tracing every idea you've got down to the nth degree, whether it's worry, whether it's research, whether it's whatever you've got going on in your life. I found that I was becoming more and more stuck, essentially. And it started me down, funnily enough, using those tools, trying to research what is the best way to actually break away from this and go back to living in the real world. And that's what this video is about today. It's a little bit different from my normal videos, but it's about how I use tech and how I mindfully use tech so that it works for me rather than the other way around. So I first started down the route and I got a Nokia dumb phone. I just remember when I used to have the first 3210 that came out when I was probably 13 or 14, and the only distraction on a device like that really was Snake. There's no internet on it. It's very basic, obviously. So I was hoping that since then, in 2025, there'd be some sort of enhanced Nokia. I think what I was looking for was definitely a smartphone replacement, like something in today's world where technology has advanced so much. It's all well and good to just completely do away with your smartphone, but you'll actually find yourself stuck in certain situations. For example, banking is all done now through apps. It's almost impossible in Ireland anyway, and perhaps in other parts of the world, it's almost impossible to get by without having a banking app, even if it's just to approve payments or even to log into your own online banking. You need to have a companion app on your phone. So I found that I was unable to completely do away with a smart device by replacing it with a Nokia. The holy grail in my mind, I thought initially, was just to get something that had WhatsApp on it. But, it's not just WhatsApp. There's so many other practical things that you need a device that is still smart enough, but just not too smart that it basically tricks you into giving it all your time, essentially. There are a few good options out there. I'd love to hear what you guys are using as well. But I'll tell you now in a second what I found that works for me and what's best and what I think is truly the best dumb phone in 2025 ever. There's a phone called a balance phone. Looks to be a European provider. As far as I can see, it's essentially just a dumbed down Android version. So the good thing about it is it can work on, I think, any Android phone. I might be wrong in saying that, but certainly Samsung phones, I think it works on that. Or the balance phone themselves, I think, have a device as well. So it looks quite good. I think the idea of the balance phone is that it won't allow anything that's kind of social media-esque, but it will allow you to access any other app. It looks like a good compromise. I think I never really went down that route. I didn't need to, because what I found was even better. It just had everything that I needed and had the ability to customize it in the way that I wanted to use it. Another thing that I checked out was kind of e-ink devices, and there's quite an explosion of e-ink devices out there at the moment. One of the newest ones is the Box Palma 2 Pro. It looks like an interesting device, but when you actually get into the detail on it, it's actually not a phone. So while it has 4G and 5G and it can have a SIM card, it actually has no native phone calling. Obviously, you can do data calls, but it's not intended as a phone. It's more intended as an e-reader slash e-ink note-taking device. So again, it might work. It might be something I explore in the future, but I'd love to hear if any of you guys have that type of device or something like that as well, and just what's your experience with it. So anyway, the dumb phone that I use is this. It's actually an Apple iPhone, but I'm using a very special setting on my iPhone, and it's called accessibility. No, wait, it's called something else. It's called assistive access mode. Okay. And so when you go into assistive access mode, your apps look like this, right? Yeah, they're probably, I don't know how much you can see there, but they're basically like a list of a menu, right? And it's got a very limited functionality. But what's key here is that you can basically choose which apps you're allowed to use and which apps are on your phone and which ones are not on your phone. And the key thing is, and this is maybe a more extreme approach for those of you that might trial run this, you might not want to do this straight away. So when I first started doing this, what you have to do is you have to set up a pin, and the only way to get out of assistive access mode is to triple click the side button, and then you go exit assistive access mode, right? But you can only exit it if you know the pin. So when I first started doing this or trialing this out, I set up the pin for myself, and I found that I was okay sticking to it and sticking in this mode. But just by knowing the pin, it just meant that, oh, I'm sitting in the doctor's office, or, oh, I do have about a spare 10 minutes here. And you end up thinking, all right, I'll just put the pin in because I just have to check something. And you just go out and you end up watching a load of YouTube videos, or you start reading all the news or flipping around and doing what you usually do. So I think after a couple of months of use, I kind of went for the more extreme version, which was I basically asked my wife, could she put the pin in and just not tell me what it is? And so I've been doing that since. And so I can't get out of this mode even if I want to. And I have to say, it's changed my life, I'd say. I find my phone is a phone again. It's a tool. If I want to read the news, I'll go and use my desktop computer, and I'll come purposely into the office here in our house, and I'll read the news, or I'll watch a YouTube video or two. And then when I've done that, I'll finish that. So you might suddenly find that you might do a half an hour or an hour of kind of just browsing and entertainment usage of the internet. Meanwhile, I've got everything I need in here. I have not needed to get out of this mode. And what I mean by that is I've got all my authentication apps. I've got WhatsApp. I've got all of my banking apps. I've got apps for work. I've got Microsoft Teams, Microsoft OneNote. It definitely has a slightly different interface. I mean, the intention of the assistive access mode is actually, it's meant for either for older age people that might not be able to deal with the complexity of a full smartphone, or it's meant for people with disabilities, that there's obviously larger icons and things like that. But it also has this alternative use as a really good way to cut away the bad parts of the smartphone, essentially, and keep everything that you'd like to keep, and you can customize what those apps are. To give you a bit more feedback on my use of it, I initially allowed ChatGPT be one of my apps, and in my mind I rationalized it as, it's not a full web browser. I don't have a web browser on this phone because, as we all know, the web browser is the portal to suddenly finding all your web-based versions of the apps that you would otherwise use. So suddenly you'd have a tab open for YouTube, you'd have a tab open for Instagram, you'd have a tab open for Twitter or X, whatever else. So yeah, well, I would suggest not having anything that allows you essentially access to the internet or a browser. So that now really includes things like Google Gemini or ChatGPT, because you'll find you'll end up just finding yourself spending more and more time in that app, and because it's the only thing that gives you that feedback loop that you're looking for. To get into assistive access, I'll leave a link in the description of the video with instructions on how to do it. It's a matter of just trialing and error what works for you. You might like to try it where you just do the pin at first yourself, because you will figure out which apps, I don't really want that anymore, and I do want this one in actually. And that's the way I'd probably do it at the outset. But yeah, I'd love to hear, do you guys have any difficulty with tech at the moment? What do you do? What's your kind of way to deal with it or manage it? I'd love to hear about that below. I'm always looking and interested in new ideas. I've also got e-ink devices is something I'm kind of using more and more as well. So rather than having a full-blown Android tablet, I use one of these Books devices, which is an e-ink device. I find myself writing and reading more on this tablet, which I think is quite enjoyable and relaxing type way to use a device, as opposed to just doom scrolling and the usual just flicking on bright colors and different things that catches your attention. Might do a video about things like that into the future. Love to hear your thoughts, and thanks for watching, and talk to you soon.